y'all, how y'all been? And y'all already know by the title of this video, I'm back at it to review the episodes 6 through 11 of Demon Slayer. Oh yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so there's lots to talk about, so let's get right into it. I'm going to explain, the episode 6 through 11, then I'll give what I didn't like, and then I'll give what I like. You already know the routine. Alright, so episode 6 starts off with, where we left off in the previous episode, where Tanjiro is fighting Daki, and, he's really holding up his own, pretty much. But, of course, he's still learning. He's not the greatest swordsman, so eventually Daki does get the best of him. So it knocks him out, and then eventually Nezuko steps in. Whenever I see Nezuko come on the screen, I'm really excited to see her, to see how strong she is, how powerful she is, because we already know by this point she's clearly different from the other demons because she doesn't get her power from drinking blood. She, I guess, gets her power from resting. So anyways, Nezuko, starts beating her up, and then she's getting mad, so she does this badass transformation, just all this power flowing through her, and then she eventually kicks Daki's ass. But it gets to the point where you can kind of see that she's going more into her demon mind. So Nezuko sees someone bleeding, and she's about to attack them. In the meanwhile, Tanjiro, he's knocked out, and he hears his younger brother, hey, you gotta go wake up, or she'll never be the same. And then Tanjiro wakes up and then finally gets a hold of Nezuko. And of course, she's still in her transformation form, so she's fighting back, wanting to get rid of him, and Tanjiro's nope, I'm not letting you get down. But at this point, Daki has recovered from Nezuko messing her up, and Tanjiro's oh man, if I let Nezuko go, she might attack these humans, but if I don't do anything, we're doomed for it. So he's kind of what the hell did I do? And then of course, in Demon Slayer fashion, at the last minute, Uchi finally shows up, and he's like, Tanjiro, get a hold of your sister, because there's no time for this foolishness. So flashy, how dare he? And it's funny because Daki, she's why are you not paying attention to me? I'm right over here. And Uchi's no, I'm looking for an upper rank demon. And she's well, I am upper rank demon. And he's no, you're not. I just beheaded you like that. It's you can't be one. And then this is where the real demon shows up. So I guess he comes from her back or inside her. I don't know. But you see this other male demon, and it turns out it's her older brother, her Oni-chan. So Uchi's okay, Tanjiro, take care of your sister, and I'm gonna over here take care of this guy. So they're okay. And then I think it was really sweet in this moment, because in this moment Tanjiro starts singing Nezuko a lullaby from her mom. In this scene, it's just so sad, and it made me tear up, and I was oh my gosh. But he eventually is able to calm her down, put her back in the box, and then they go help fight. So now at this point, it's Daki with her older brother versus Tanjiro, Uchi, and Nezuko, and Zenitsu. And they're fighting for a little while, but they're not really getting anywhere. And then Uchi finally realizes, oh, okay, for us to win, we have to behead them at the same time, because they're one unit, and I guess the brother, the demon brother, is the main unit or something like that. And I just have to say, the voice actor for the demon brother is very creepy. He does a very good job. Just the way he says things, and he has the noise, very good job, very good job.
もうダメだろうしな。イノシシは心臓を一突き、黄色い頭は瓦礫に押しつぶされて苦しんでる。
You get more of Uchi's backstory, and it's kind of sad because, as I said previously, he really sees his 3 wives as his only family, because they technically are his only family. You can see him, pouring a drink for his brothers, and he says in one scene oh, I would hope, one day we could all drink together, but not today, but one day. And I don't know, it's just very sad. And so, they're all together, and it's just a really cute scene. It's a really nice scene, because I love seeing more of the girls, and I love seeing more of his backstory. You can see how the girls are important to him and how he's important to them. So it was very nice. And during episode 9, though, you get the backstory, but then you also see them they're getting really beat up by these demons. Uchi, he gets hit by a poison sickle, but he says he doesn't react to the poison, but you can see him affecting him. And, you know, of course, our boys, they're getting tired. They're getting a little, you know, fatigued. But eventually, they're able to behead Daki. And so Inesco's like, I'm gonna run far away with this head. And like, y'all, you know, y'all go help the old man and try to defeat the other demon. But I'm gonna run with his head. So they're like, oh, okay. So Inesco, you know, takes the head, starts running. And then Tanjiro's like, oh, Uzi, oh, wait a minute. I don't see or hear anything anymore. So he looks, he sees Uzi on the ground with his hand cut off, and Tanjiro's like, holy shit. But you know, Inesco's still running, but then all of a sudden, you know, Tanjiro's like, oh wait, if Uzi's down here, where the hell's that demon? And then all of a sudden you see the demon just stab Inesco through the heart and, you know, letting go of the head. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like what the hell? And then the upper demon, you know, gives out an attack, and Zenitsu's like, watch out, Tanjiro, you know, pushing that out of the way. And then Tanjiro at the end of episode 9, he's like, I am so sorry, everyone. And, you know, you just see him falling down. So that was episode 9. Episode 10, Never Give Up. Yeah. So we see Tanjiro falling down, and of course Tanjiro is being his usual self, always blaming himself, saying sorry that he couldn't do this or that. And you know, I can relate a lot to that, because I too tend to say sorry a lot when I shouldn't have to, or I don't need to. There's some things that we just can't control, and we just can't keep always apologizing for it, because then he goes into the scenario, well, if I were to help Uzi first, or no, if I would have been paying attention to Inesco, this would have happened. But he doesn't know that. He falls into the ground, he wakes up, everything's burning around him, you know, everyone's pretty much everyone looks dead. And you know, he finds Inesco's going to okay, but he's like, okay, like what do I do next? And then as soon as he looks up, the demon is there, and boy, did I felt a little scared too. I was like, oh no. I was like, Tanjiro doesn't even get a second to breathe, and this mother is already right here in front of him, like ready, you know, to destroy him. But what's really interesting about this scene in episode 10, I feel like, is that you can kind of see, because the demon kind of taunts Tanjiro at first, like, you know, calling him, like, he's asking the guy, are you the older brother? And he's like, yeah, Nesco's my younger sister. And he's like, oh, you're such a disgrace, you're such a dimwit, like, you know, insulting him, like, you know, really like trashing on him. And I just feel like that says a lot about the character and maybe what he's been through. And that just makes me sad, because for him to say all this stuff, that would have meant someone said, you know, all that stuff to him in his human life or whatever. And then Tanjiro runs off. And at this point though, I don't even blame Tanjiro. Like, if that was me in that position too, I would grab my subway and just run the hell out of there. I'd be like, I can't do it. Like, I'm done. This is it. I can't do anything else. So this whole time the demon's following him, you know, kicking him around still, and Tanjiro's still getting up and still running and still running. And then at the very last moment, the demon's like, well, what are you gonna do now? Hey, I know. I like you just a little bit, that I can make you a demon, and you can be a demon with your sister and be part of our group. And then, you know, Daki's like, nah, I don't like that one, you didn't run that past me, I don't like it. But he's just ignoring her. And then, you know, Tanjiro, being Tanjiro, always quick on his feet, making those fast decisions, he says no and headbutts him, right? And then Demon's like, a headbutt? Like, this is all you got, bro? This is all you got? But turns out, he can't move. The demon can't move, and he's like, what the hell is going on? Tanjiro also stabbed him in the leg, though, that had poison on. He found this knife that Uzi was using earlier, and it has poison on it that can affect the demon. So he ends up finding it and, you know, stabbing him when he headbutts him. And I just thought that scene was so well played. But when Tanjiro did that, I was like, yes, my boy, yes, you did it. You figured it out. I knew you could. And so that one moment gives him, like, you know, that last adrenaline push. And so he starts cutting him, and you can see that he's cutting him a little bit. And then at this point, like, Daki's freaking out, and she's like, no. And so she goes and attacks him. But then at the last minute, Zenitsu gets out of the rubble too. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, because you see Zenitsu, but he was like buried underneath all these buildings and stuff, and it seemed like he wasn't gonna get out. And so when you see him like deflect Daki's belt, I'm just like, yes. So while they're doing all that, Zenitsu's like, you know, Tanjiro's created a 1 in a million lifetime opportunity. I have to do it. And so, you know, Tanjiro motivates Zenitsu, and Zenitsu motivates Tanjiro, and it's just great. So, you know, they're trying really hard to cut it, because, you know, it's really hard for them. Zenitsu's like, because he uses his like god form speed to try to cut the demon's head off, but he's like, his legs are like getting tired and stuff, and he's like, I don't think I can do this. Then out of nowhere, and then my homeboy Inesco, he comes in and he's helping Zenitsu cut off that demon's head, and then back with Tanjiro, he's still struggling, but giving it his all. But the demon, took out the sword already out of his leg, so he was like rebuilding his energy, and so Tanjiro's not able to do it. But then of course, Uzi comes in, and he's like, yeah, I use my, breathing technique to get all this poison out. And so he's over here fighting this demon with, just one, with one arm and then another arm, but with no hand. And, and just in this fight scene, though, it shows that Itsu needed Tanjiro and Tanjiro needed Itsu to defeat this demon. So, there's this beautiful fight scene was going on, ching, all these lights at him. And Itsu's like, no, do it now. And Tanjiro comes in and, does it. And Demon's like, you failed before, you wouldn't think you could do it again. And Tanjiro's, because I can't give up, and then I can never give up. And then at that moment, you see him kind of like activate like a power or something, because his hair like goes into flames, and then his sword is in the flames. And point is, they're able to behead him. The other boys are able to behead Daki, and our heroes win, so we think. So as soon as they get beheaded, everyone's really like beat up in really bad shape. Tanjiro's coming in and out of consciousness, and the brother demon had one more attack in him, and he released like these tornado of like cuts and stuff. So episode 11, they wake up, Tanjiro wakes up, everything's more destroyed, and he's like, oh my gosh, what happened? Oh my gosh, like, how am I alive? And he sees Nezuko right beside him. He's like, what is going on? So he tries to find everyone else. He finds Zenitsu, he finds Inosuke, and turns out little Nezuko's power over here her blood demon art is either like taking away poison from the demons or able to like heal demon wounds. I'm not really sure. And then he goes and finds Itsu. He's, on the verge of dying. And so Nezuko comes up, does the same thing, and heals him. And then Tanjiro's like, well, I need to go find the demon's head. He says, I can't rest easy until I know like they're actually gone. So him and Nezuko go find their heads, and then you see the heads of the, Daki and her older brother, and they're just like arguing, just calling each other nasty names. And I just love this part because it just shows Tanjiro's personality. It shows the kind of person he is. He goes up to the older brother's demon, because the older brother demon is gonna say, oh, I wish you weren't born, and covers his mouth. And he's like, hey, you don't mean that, and don't say that to your sister, because out of all of this bad you guys done, you guys only have each other at the end. And then of course, that strikes a chord in them, and Daki's like, oh, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. And then she ends up going away. And then the older brother, he's like, Ume. And then he's like, oh yeah, that was my actual sister's name, not Daki. And so of course you get the flashback of their story, and it's actually pretty sad. Like, him as a kid, not having someone to love and protect him. You see him, struggling to eat. He has like, because of all the booze he takes, he has like an ugly face, so that even makes him more of a target. And he says one line in the subbed anime that says, it seemed like all the misfortunes and all the insults were made for me in the world. And that just really showed just how much hurt and pain he was feeling. Like, not trying to excuse him becoming a demon and like killing all these people, no, of course not. But I like how they show their backstories, because a lot of these demons didn't become the way they are just because, oh yeah, they wanted to be bad. No, they went through something traumatic, and so unfortunately it made them bad people. And then you see Tanjiro, he's like, once both their heads fade, he's like, oh, I wonder if they made up. And I just love how Tanjiro still, even though he doesn't necessarily like any of these people or any of these demons, he still always tries to show us a little bit of sympathy, because he knows that they were once human and they probably went through something traumatic to end up to be where they are. Now let's go into what I didn't like about these last couple of episodes. So firstly, Nezuko's transformation, like I said, very badass. I loved seeing all the colors and her like, powering up. But it still made me feel a little bit uncomfy when like, this child like turns into a full grown woman with like breasts and everything, which I feel like they could have still made her like grown up, but without like that part. Like, I don't know, like I said, it just makes me a little bit uncomfy. So I feel like they could just have her powered up still, you know, with the colors and everything, but they didn't have to transform her into like an older person. That's just my 2 cents. And then also with Nesco, I'm sorry, like I really do like Nesco, but it's just sometimes the choices the writers make, I'm just like, where are y'all going with this? Because in the very last episode, like I mentioned, Nesco's around like 12, maybe 13. But in the last episode, they make it look like a little ass toddler. Like when she's putting her hands on people, like they look like little fucking baby hands, and I'm just like, are y'all trying to make her younger, or like what is going on? So I just thought that was really weird. I didn't like that neither. I'm like, y'all are making her look way too young, and I know no 12-year-old be looking like this. And you know, and I don't mind when shows or animes or movies explain like the plot a little bit, you know, so we can get some information. But I feel like when the demon brother was talking, I feel like he did it too much, and it was just kind of annoying me just a little bit, because I feel like some of the parts was unnecessary. Like we could have just like, you know, put the context clues together and figured it out. And with this arc coming to an end, or this season coming to an end, I would have loved to see more of Mako, Suma, and Hinaratsuri. And Hinasuru. I would have loved to see more of them a little bit, because besides them being Uti's wives, ninjas, and having large boobs, like they really don't do much throughout the season besides being like the plot. And I would have really loved to see them more, because I feel like they really have interesting backstories too. And I would have loved to know like how they all became part of this like ninja operation, and you know, are they sisters? Are they friends? Are they related? Are they not? Like, I just feel like we could have seen a little bit more of them, and just for them just like being there, because that's what it felt like. I feel like like you could have like taken them out and they wouldn't have changed the story that much. All right, so let's get into what was good. And I've already said it, but episode 10, the animation in there, like when the fire scene was coming on, like I don't know how to explain it to y'all, but it felt like I could feel the fire, like with the sounds of it too. Like I felt like I could feel the fire on me. And the fighting sequence, oh my gosh, the animation was gorgeous. Like the colors were beautiful. Like my eyes were just like so much to see. Like I couldn't handle it. Just so much bright colors going on. But I love that though. I love Tanjiro's unwavering devotion to always give it his all, be the best, and protect everyone he can at all costs. Even if that means, you know, he puts himself in danger, or he puts his own life at risk. And I just love that about Tanjiro's character, because I feel like the writers, you know, really took the time to make him fleshed out. Like, of course, he's still learning and growing, but he's consistent throughout, you know, the season. Like, he wasn't just sweet and kind in the first one, but he's also, you know, still sympathetic, considering of others in season 2 as well. And then when he's cutting off the demon's head, you can see he's getting more powerful, because flames coming out of his katana, flames are coming out of his hair, and like, you know, he's like, we're seeing his full potential. And not only Tanjiro do they make them powerful, but they make UNESCO powerful too, when they say, oh, he can like rearrange his vital organs, and Zenitsu's like god form speed too. Like that. The writers do a good job of developing everyone. The humor, man, the humor was like top notch. I'm telling you guys, like they just know how to put in the right amount of humor in the right scenes at the correct times. Like at one part when, you know, Uchi thinks he's gonna be dying in episode 11, he's trying to get his last words out, but all his wives just like keep arguing, and like they're talking over him, and he's like just thinking like, am I really gonna die without saying what I wanted to say? And I just thought that was so funny. Or when Zenitsu, because you know, whenever he's fighting a demon, he's like asleep because he can't handle it when he's awake, so I guess his subconscious takes over, and Zenitsu wakes up and he's like, Tanjiro, I can't feel my legs, what happened? And you know, his legs are okay, but they're probably just tired, and he's like, who would do this to me, who would do this to me? And I just think that's just so funny with Zenitsu, like how he doesn't remember anything when he's asleep. Overall, I already said it before, I love Demon Slayer. I thought season 2 was really good in general. The way they introduced the characters, the writing, the animation, and the music is really beautiful too, especially at the end of episode 10, where you see the buildings in the background. It's just like everyone who was part of the Demon Slayer team, I feel like they all took their job seriously and they understood the assignment. And that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening to the whole video and listening to my review of Demon Slayer season 2, arc 2, whatever you want to call it. I say tomato, you say tomato. If you did like this video though, I would really appreciate it if you let me know down below in the comments what you like about it, giving me a thumbs up, subscribing and sharing. But if you're still on the fence about subscribing, it's okay. I understand. Like I said, I do other videos. I do a little bit of weight loss because I am trying to be a healthier me. I also do other commentary and other reviews. So if you want to check out those videos and then maybe you'll consider subscribing, then that'll be great too. And thank you so much, you guys. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. You rock. You're awesome. Don't forget that. And I'll catch y'all next time. Bye.